Can you believe it's been 14 years since the last Final Destination movie? I had to double check the date because honestly it feels like the last installment just came out a few years ago. But time flies, and so do apparently construction tools, shards of glass, and flaming car parts when death is feeling creative. Now we're back with the 6th entry in the franchise, Final Destination Bloodlines. Right off the bat, I'll say this. If you've seen any of the previous 5 Final Destination films, then you already know exactly what to expect here. This series has always been about the same basic structure. Someone gets a vivid premonition of a deadly accident, saves a group of people from that fate, and then Death, who really needs a hobby, starts picking them off all one by one in increasingly elaborate and brutal ways. Rinse and repeat. But Bloodlines tries to do something a little different this time around, even if it doesn't work entirely. Or does it? Welcome to The Real Value, where we recap, review, rate, and evaluate all things real, all things watched. I'm Cal, your horror pal, and today we're asking a few key questions. Is Final Destination Bloodlines more than just a recycled version of the same formula? Are the characters actually interesting? Or are they just more death fodder waiting to be squished, burned, or impaled in creative ways? So let's talk plot. FD6, that's right, stars a new lead, Stephanie, a young woman haunted by a violent, reoccurring nightmare. As the story unfolds, we learn that this nightmare is actually an echo of a premonition experienced decades earlier by her grandmother, Iris, who narrowly escaped death's design back in her day. Iris has been hiding from death ever since, living off the grid and under the radar. When Stephanie starts experiencing these visions, she returns home to confront her grandmother and figure out how to break the cycle before death finishes what it started. The movie is directed by Zach Lipovsky and Adam Stein, and I'll give them some credit. It looks clean, it moves at a decent pace, and the production value is solid for a franchise that's always had a bit of a B-movie vibe, at least in my opinion. The CGI is mostly competent, though the blood splatter effects feel way too cartoonish at times. Some of the kills are undeniably fun to watch if you're into that sort of thing, and let's be real, if you're watching a Final Destination film, that's exactly what you're here for. Now, let's talk characters. Are they any good? Do we care about them? Not really. Stephanie is fine as a protagonist. She's got a clear motivation and a strong connection to the story's legacy, but most of the supporting characters feel like filler. You know, they're only there to die. That said, I did really enjoy the goth brother character. He brought some much needed levity to the film and honestly had the best lines. Without him, the movie might have felt even flatter than it already did. So here's the thing. I've never been the biggest fan of the franchise. Don't get me wrong, the first Final Destination film was great. It was original, creepy, and smart for its time. The concept of death as an unseen, inevitable force stalking survivors was legitimately scary. It had a real X-Files vibe, and no surprise there, considering the original script started out as an X-Files episode that never was produced. That explains the eerie atmosphere and tightly wound suspense. But after the first one, the sequels, and yes, even the prequel, just started feeling repetitive, like painfully repetitive to me. The kills got more elaborate, sure, but the characters got thinner, the story's more convoluted, and the whole cheating death idea became less thrilling and more formulaic. I get it, some fans love the predictability. They know what they're signing up for, but for me, the lack of mystery really kills the fun. While watching Bloodlines, I found myself zoning out more than once. The story demands a lot of suspension of disbelief. You're telling me that a group of everyday people can somehow figure out that death is targeting them through prophetic dreams and arbitrary signs? It's hard to buy into, even in a supernatural context. I know these movies aren't aiming for realism, but this one really pushes it. Still, there was one part of the film that really stood out to me. Tony Todd. Seeing him appear in this film and what was one of his final performances before his passing was powerful. He looked frail. You could see how much the illness he had been suffering in real life had taken from him physically, but his presence was still commanding. He delivers a quiet, poignant monologue about the value of time and the inevitability of death. And it hit me harder than anything else in the movie. It felt like a farewell, not just from his character, but from Tony Todd himself. Goosebumps. And for the record, the fact that the Oscars left him out of their in memoriam segment, that's a total disgrace. This man gave so much to the horror genre. He deserved better. So what's the final verdict? Final Destination Bloodlines is real mid. It's not terrible. It's not great. It's just okay. If you're a longtime fan of the franchise, you'll probably find enough here to enjoy. A few fun kills, a little bit of lore expansion, and some familiar beats. But if you're hoping for something new or groundbreaking, don't hold your breath. The kills are cool, if a bit over CGI'd. The characters are mostly forgettable with the exception of the Goth brother, and while the twist involving Iris and the generational cycle of death is an interesting idea, the film doesn't do quite enough with it to make the concept feel fresh. It's watchable, but not memorable. Pop it on if you want some background carnage, but don't expect it to blow your mind. All right, folks, that's it for me today. As always, be kind to each other, and if you can't do that, at least don't be a dick. Corey, Joey, thank you for being Patreon patrons. Everyone else, please follow suit and like, share, and subscribe. Peace. Oh, baby.